Good evening. The first video I ever did on this channel was a Camo and Krooked style remix, and today I feel like it needs an update. Let's get into it. And there we have it. Let's run it from the beginning.
Another season blooming, buried in the snow. All this time I'm losing, thinking of the cold memories are useless. I've gotta let them go, I've gotta let them go. Gotta let go of the summertime blues. The summertime blues. I've gotta let them go, 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 let them go, let them go, let them go, let them go.
So, we are just using the original chords. I'm just using a piano V2 for that. And then I've done this little piano melody on top. And in the intro, we've got these really live sounding rides. And to make it sound a little bit more live and human, I've changed the sample every other hit. So this one is different to this one. And then this one comes back here. This one comes back here. So it just creates a little bit of variation. So it doesn't just sound the same for the whole time. And then into this next section, we've got just a few little hats. Just low pass, just so you can hear them a tiny little bit. And then we're introducing these strings just to elevate it into that next section. Playing the exact same chords as the piano.
Summertime blues. The summertime blues.
And then in this build, we introduce our drums. So low pass at first in this build, and then if you watch here, you can see the journey of that EQ as it goes along. So we're bringing in some more of the highs and taking out those lows as this build goes on. And then we're just doing a typical kick build and then doubled it here. And then we've got this little snare riser. And a lot of Camo and Krooked style is using quite live sounding drums. So this fill here and then another fill that we're going to come to. And the snare tend to have more of a live sound in the samples. We're introducing this Neuro sub. This is just a patch that I found. Super crunchy, a lot of movement, just playing the root notes of those piano chords. And then we introduce this lead. Which is just a saw wave, 2 unison, a little bit of detune, and some hyperdimension and distortion, and that is it. And then we've got the pitch bend on plus and minus 2 to create that really eerie sound. We're just pitch bending. So only a tiny bit, so it's not even a full semitone, it's just enough so it has that sort of uneasy horror film kind of vibe. And in this section here, as usual, we're taking out a lot of the elements and we've just got this kick and the bass, and then we have this little drum fill. Again, very live sounding, which is very apposite to this kind of song. And then just to create a little bit of variation, this little pre-drop vocal I've put on another channel and I've just saturated a little bit. So this one's totally clean and then this one is saturated. So it just has a bit of ear candy, a little bit of difference in the sound. In this drop, we've got this sort of fake 1. So most of the elements come in on the beat after. So here, same with these basses. And then we've got this little wub here, which is a patch that I found. It sounds really cool, which is just a triangle wave, sine wave, and a load of distortion, I imagine. And then after that plays, all of the rest of the elements come in. So we've got 3 layers of this bass. We've got this really crunchy sort of top, which is just an analog BD sine and an AM sine with a bit of a filter on there. This LFO is being sent to this filter, so it just helps it move a little bit. And then we've got a lot of hyperdimension, compression, distortion. And to help the rhythm a little bit, I've not done them as these straight notes, so it's just this the whole time. Because we've got that LFO on, by having different notes being played like this, you get much more movement because that LFO is being played. So rather than the LFO happening sort of once over this lifespan, it happens 3 times. So you get a lot more movement in that sense. And then we've got this neuro bass on top of that as well that we had in the build-up. And then just a sub, which is an operator sine wave pretty much. And all of that is being sidechained to the kick and the snare. So with the drums, pretty basic, very short, very punchy drums. And then we've got these little tops. And I've got this ghost note in here, which is just the same as this snare, but we're doing the tick-a-tick-get. And because we're only really needing the transient to pop through on that, I've really taken the length of that sample down. So it's a really short, snappy sound. Because we don't actually need the whole length of this sample. So having it a bit shorter just helps to create a little bit more room for everything else. And then with our main synth that are playing the chords in the drop, that is just a saw wave with a bend plus that's all the way. 3 unison, a little bit of detune, a little bit of hyperdimension, distortion, reverb. And similar to that lead in the build-up, we've done a little bit of pitch bend just to make it a little bit more interesting so it's not so straight. And then to really crunch it up, I've got an erosion on there and a saturator. And then with these vocals in the drop, I have saturated it again, so it just helps it crunch up a little bit. And again, sidechained it to the kick and the snare. And then to create a little bit of interest where this little shot is, I've taken everything out apart from the kick. So again, it's like negative space, ear candy, where taking stuff out creates a little bit of interest, especially when it's sort of unexpected like this. And then just before that next section, we've got this little break. Again, very live, very real sounding drums. And this second half, we're introducing this same lead that we had in the build. So that's just hanging on the D sharp, just creates a little bit of a drone, sounds a little bit weird, especially with those pitch bends. And then to create a little bit more interest in that second half, to spice it up and make something different, I've put a flanger on there, so it's this meta flanger. So that wasn't on for this first half. And then the second half, we just introduced that. So it creates a hell of a lot of movement and makes it really interesting for that second half. And there we have it, with a really good vocal, with some really good chords, and some pretty basic producing. This is only 42 tracks long. You can get a pretty damn good sounding tune. I do hope this has helped. Thank you for watching. Love to your mothers.